You know, when Aaron HaKohen, Aaron the high priest, Moshe Rabbeinu's brother, Moses' brother, when he passed away in the 40th year of the Jewish people wandering in the wilderness, it says that everyone was crying over him, the men and the women. It doesn't say that about Moses, it says it about Aaron. So the commentaries, primarily Rashi, explain based on a midrashic teaching that Aaron was particularly popular because, like it says in Pirkei Avos, he was Oyev Shalom, Vereid of Shalom. He loved peace. He pursued peace. Oyev Habriyos, he loved people who had no redeeming qualities other than the fact that they were created by God. Umekaravan LaTorah, and he would bring them close to Hashem's Torah. And we know actually his methodology, how he used to do that. And Moses had his own path. Moses was the one who received the Torah and faithfully transmitted it. He was the lawgiver, the teacher. That was his path. He had a different avodah. He had a different way of serving. But Aaron's way was he was a diplomat. He used to make peace. And specifically, the method that he used to use was when two people were fighting, two brothers, two business partners, two neighbors, a husband and a wife, whatever it might be, he would go to one of them and say, you know, the other one is really ashamed and he wants to apologize, but he can't look you in the eye. And then he would go to the other party and he would say the same thing. And somehow, remarkably, he never got caught. It always worked. And everyone would make peace. And maybe by the time they figured out what had happened, they didn't care anymore because they had made peace and they were enjoying being at peace. And that's why everybody cried, the men and the women. Whole families cried because so many of them owed their shalom bayis, the peace in their home, to Aaron because he was the peacemaker. Now, Moses couldn't do that because Moshe Amis v'Torah Amis. Moshe was about truth. So sometimes truth is a little bit blunt. And he couldn't massage things to broker a deal, right? Aaron was about love. So sometimes he would say things a little bit more euphemistically. He'd clean things up in order to sell the deal. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe speaks about this, and he asks a question. At the end of the day, what are we really saying? We're saying that the popularity of Aaron HaKohen was that he had the ability or willingness to twist the truth, which Moshe Rabbeinu, his brother Moses, did not possess. That's his great praise. That, to put it bluntly, he was a good liar for a good reason, for a good cause, but he was a good liar. So the Rebbe's not very happy with that explanation. So the Rebbe says like this. That's not what happened. I mean, what happened is what happened, but you have to look more deeply into the mechanics of what was actually happening. Yeah, Aaron would go to one party and say the other guy wants to make up with you, and he would do the reverse. This guy wants to make up with you. But you have to analyze it on a deeper level. How did that work? You see, Aaron had a unique capacity because he loved you to see the real you, which means your soul. He saw your neshama. And your neshama is not fighting with anyone. Your ego is fighting with people. Your ego feels threatened. Your ego is living with a scarcity mentality. Your ego wants revenge, to settle the score, to retaliate. Your ego holds a grudge. Your soul is at one with all your brothers and sisters, and it just wants to be in loving, peaceful unity with everyone. So Aaron would see you fighting, and he would know that's not the real you. That's not the real you. And he would look more deeply, and he would see your soul, and he would see how you're at peace with the person you're fighting with. And he would go to the person you're fighting with, and he would report that truth, that deeper truth. He would say he really wants to make up with you, because it's true, deep down, you did want to make up with the guy you're fighting with. Your ego doesn't want, but the ego's not the real you. The soul is the real you, and the soul wants peace. And then he would go and he would say the same thing to the other guy. He wants to make up with you. And what does he mean? He. The real him. His soul. So the way that it worked was that Aaron was capable of not being fooled by your lower self even when you were acting on your lower self and engaging your lower self by fighting with others. But Aaron would look through it. He'd look past it and see the real you, and he would believe in that more than the behaviors that you were communicating, and he would report that truth, and he would bring it out until it became the external reality as well, until your behaviors, your outer self, became aligned with your inner true self. And that, the Rebbe says, is why people especially mourned the passing of Aaron. Not because he was popular because he made peace. Yeah, that too. But the real reason they mourned him is because when he passed away, they were afraid not only they had lost a great man who they loved and respected and admired, they were afraid they had lost access to their true selves. Because who will ever see the real me again? I could never fool Aaron. Aaron was always able to see through my shtick and perceive the godliness that's always there. And if I don't have Aaron in my life, how will I see me? How will I see my true self? So the Rebbe says this is the function of Aaron and of the Aaron-like figure in every generation. The tzaddik who teaches us how to love each other and how to love ourselves by seeing the truth about ourselves and others, that we are souls. So we need a clear self-image. We need a clear snapshot of the soul. Where are we supposed to get a thing like that? You have to go to Aaron. You have to go to a spiritual giant who knows how to see souls. Hey, this is Shais Taub. You were just watching a clip from this class. If you want to get the full context, the full class that this clip that you just watched was from, you watch right here. Click right here. Here.